Motion.
Mr. Scheer, appuyé par Madame.
Mr. Scheer, seconded by Ms. Roberts, proposes that the House decides that it has no longer confidence in its Speaker and therefore directs that Mr. Scheer, seconded by Mr. Bertod, proposes that the House decide that it no longer has confidence in its Speaker and orders that
Effective immediately before the hour of meeting on the second sitting day following the adoption of this resolution, and B, as the first order of business at the second sitting day, an election of the Speaker be held pursuant to Standing Order 2.2. Debate. The Honourable Official Opposition House Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This has been a difficult few weeks for the House and for the office of the Speaker. A lot has been said. We've had a debate on a privileged motion here in the House, and we've had extensive meetings at Procedure and House Affairs, studying the blatant displays of partisanship that the current Speaker has engaged in, and the fact that all members of this House have...
I do have a point of order. The Honourable Minister.
For interrupting, I'll be very fast. Madam Speaker, I am tabling the government's responses to questions number 1957 to 1967. Thank you.
The Honourable Official Opposition Deputy House Leader resuming debate.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I was just about to say that we've discussed this matter at some length, both in a privileged motion here in the House and at extensive meetings at the Procedure and House Affairs Committee. And so I'll just do a very quick recap of how we got here. Of course, the current Speaker comes into the chair after a history of hyper-partisanship, including roles at the executive level of the Liberal Party, Youth Party President, Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister. He was often engaged at partisan filibusters at committee, blocking investigations into corruption at the highest levels of this current government. We all remember that he was one of the first to rise to his feet when a member of the NDP was physically assaulted in this chamber by the Prime Minister and actually accused that NDP MP of exaggerating her injuries. Something that took all of us by surprise here in this House, and was a very, what I believe, a very shameful display of defense of a Prime Minister who had clearly broken one of the most fundamental rules of decency, which is not to physically assault each other in this chamber. After his election, members of the official opposition were willing to respect the decision of the House and to give him the benefit of the doubt. But a few days ago, we saw a video of the Speaker in his robes, filmed in his office, congratulating a sitting Liberal member of Parliament, provincial Parliament, praising that individual and participating in a Liberal election convention. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, just a few days ago, news came to light that the Speaker attended a Liberal cocktail militant. That, I believe, translates into the English as a volunteer or an activist cocktail. Partisan networking or fundraising event. We have reports from people who were at that event, including the provincial member of Parliament, that indicated that funds were collected for the Liberal campaign war chest, a clear partisan activity. So it is for all those reasons that the official opposition believes that the Speaker cannot continue in this role and must do the right thing and put the integrity and impartiality of the House first and foremost. So, Madam Speaker, that's what we're seeking to do with this motion. We believe that it's best for the House and for the Speaker to resolve this very quickly. We believe the Speaker's chair should be vacated, that the current Speaker should step down, and if he won't do that, which clearly he's indicated he won't, this motion brings effect to that. It effectively orders the chair to be deemed vacant and a new election for Speaker to be held. The reason why this is important, why Canadians should care about this, is because in our system there are different kinds of checks and balances on the Prime Minister's personal authority. And one of those checks is standing orders of this House, the rules of precedence, and the office of the Speaker to ensure that even though one particular party may have a majority of the votes, or a political party in coalition with another party have an effective coalition government, that the opposition parties, the other parties, still have a way to scrutinize, to delay, to allow more debate and more transparency and accountability, and to propose alternatives. And when the Speaker cannot acquit himself or herself of their responsibilities in an impartial way, that helps erode that check on that power that the government has. So I'll just quickly roll through some of the reasons why the Speaker's apology was not sufficient. He claimed that the video for the convention was all a miscommunication. Well, we'll park that for a moment. Even if we were to not consider the Liberal convention that he participated in, on the afternoon of December 1st, he undertook an interview with Laura Stone of the Globe and Mail, in which he paid tribute to outgoing Ontario Liberal Party interim leader John Fraser in glowing terms, while referring to Mr. Fraser's work on behalf of our party. So calm, cool, collected, sat down, took an interview request with a reporter from a national newspaper, and offered opinions and comments on an active member of the provincial legislature, referring to that party as our party. So clearly displaying that partisan affiliation. We know that there was a discrepancy in terms of how between the versions of events that the Speaker put forward and the version of events that came out of the Ontario Liberal Party as to the nature of the event, and the apology is just not sufficient. While the House was seized with this very issue, the Speaker went to Washington, D.C. during a sitting week, in the middle of a sitting week, which in and of itself is a very, very unusual thing for a Speaker to do, on a pre-planned trip that he had booked while he was still a parliamentary secretary. And rather than delay that event or have an official delegation from our parliament, which is normal practice for speakers to take delegations to other parliaments, other legislatures, to build on that parliamentary diplomacy, rather than doing that, he just transferred the trip from his members of parliament budget onto his speaker budget and went ahead with the trip anyway. And again, on that trip, he talked about reliving his glory days as a young Liberal activist. Again, while the House is sitting, members on all sides of the House have to watch the Speaker talking up the Liberal Party of Canada, reliving those days. There's a reason why speakers avoid all partisan links when they take the chair. It is to give comfort to members of Parliament from other parties that they truly have put aside their partisan affiliation. The current Speaker hasn't been doing that from the time he took the chair, and he continues to display grave errors of judgment. Now, you can be partisan. There are lots of partisan all of us get elected to this place through a partisan banner. Many of us have long histories of activism in a movement. And even when we come here, some people choose to pour their efforts into the types of things, whether it's at committee or in the House, that absolutely defend your party, defend your team, and do all of those types of things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But those members of Parliament tend not to put themselves forward for Speaker. And certainly those members of Parliament tend not to be elected Speaker. But here we have a current Speaker with that past who has not respected the impartiality of the chair and has continued to put his partisan affiliation in front of the House on several occasions now. So for those reasons, Madam Speaker, I am moving the motion today. And I would really urge members of Parliament from all parties to reflect on this situation. I understand there'll be many Liberal members of Parliament that just have a knee-jerk reaction to defend their Liberal Speaker. And I know that there's clearly been some kind of deal offered with the NDP, as we have seen so often before. They put aside the interests of the members of their party and activists within their movement who want real change. And they trade that away for things that it's hard to tell what they get back. I look forward to hopefully one day being able to play poker with the House Leader from the NDP or even the Leader of the NDP, because I have a feeling that'd be a pretty good round for me, because it's unclear to see what they ever get out of all the water they carry for this government, all the defense they play for this government. And while Canadians are hurting and really seeking real change, the NDP have decided to prop up this government in almost every way, almost every day. And this current situation with the Speaker has clearly shown that they're not actually interested, they don't actually believe the things they say about the integrity of the office of the Speaker, the importance of Parliament. That is as phony as everything we hear from the Liberals. But I'm asking them to park that for a moment and just think about the damage that can be done in a short period of time by a Speaker that does not respect the impartiality and the important role that he plays in this House. And for the good of the institution, to allow this motion to come to a vote in favor of it, so that the House can have a new election, a fresh start with a Speaker that can make the determination between the roles and responsibility of a member of Parliament once they put on the uniform and sit in that chair, and a hyper-partisan MP who has the right to do what he or she would like to do, to always defend their party and always attack their opponents, but to do that from a position back within the government benches. Thank you, Madam Speaker.